Hey, experts listeners, I want to key you into something that we do very special here at Ops Experts Club, and that's a masterclass. We have a free masterclass called Foundations That Scale. And the great thing about this masterclass is it's for operation professionals who are growing businesses. One of the most dangerous things you can do as an operator is grow businesses on a foundations that's not stable. So in this particular masterclass, we take apart all of the inside pieces of your team, your tech, and how they're using time. And we make sure that you're building on a foundation that's stable. So if you want to check out a great masterclass completely for free, go to foundationsthatscale.com. We'll see you there.
Welcome to the Ops Experts Club with Aaron, Terryn, and Savannah. This podcast will take you behind the scenes of some of the finer details of multi-million-dollar companies. These ops experts have dealt with operations for scaling companies and well-established businesses with anywhere from small to large teams. If you've ever been deep into the details of a major company, then you know how much it takes, and these conversations are just for you. Welcome to the Ops Experts Club podcast.
Woo! Ops Experts Club. That's it, Terryn. Boom, shakalaka. That's what we're here to do today.
Yep, every day.
Every damn day, Terryn. So Ops Experts.
We do this every day.
Every day. And even the days we don't record, Terryn and I just get on here just for funsies. We just say, hey, let's jump on StreamYard and let's just talk some stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Ops Experts, thanks for joining us today. Great to have you on another episode. Today, we're going to talk about something I think is really important for every business. And I found historically from our clients, something that very few businesses do. And I personally believe it's what leads to operational chaos. It's what leads to confusion during the year. It's what leads people to be a little bit lost in what they should really be pushing towards. And that's annual planning. So we're going to talk today about annual planning. It's annual planning season. For those of you who are tuning in now, I personally believe Q4 is the ideal time to be doing annual planning rather than Q1, because I think Q1 is melee, right? It's like you want to be already in the throes of it by Q1. You don't want to be just talking about it in Q1. So Q4 is when we advocate for it. And today we're going to talk about quarter planning. Terryn Turner, talk to me about what you think about annual planning. I said quarter planning. I meant annual planning.
Well, I think great things about annual planning. And it's just a bummer. It's only once a year.
It is. You know, we're getting ready. Terryn, we're getting ready, in fact, this very week to go travel and do annual planning for the Collab team. And we actually make it an offsite and we go someplace fun. We go up to my dad's vacation house up in Montana, us and the leadership team here at Collab team. But I actually, the last couple of years have made it something where I tag all three of my businesses together and I just bring people in back to back, where we do Collab team annual planning for a day and then the leadership team goes home. And then we do Coffee de las Mayas, our drive-through coffee expression down in Belize. We do that on Saturday. And then Sunday, we usually wind it up with Indie Coffee Coalition. But I just have found doing an offsite really helps. But maybe give people your experience. Like, what are your thoughts? We've done annual planning a lot of different ways. Maybe let's start with that. What is annual planning? Should you be doing it virtually like this on a Zoom? Could you be doing it in person? What should that look like? You and I have been doing them for a long time, me and you, and we've done them a lot of different ways.
Yeah. I mean, I will say the fatigue of trying to spend all day on a virtual meeting, it just doesn't happen in person. You know, so I prefer it in person. Like if you're going to want to spend all day strategizing about something, it feels much more collaborative, engaging than trying to do it on Zoom.
Yep. I think we started on Zoom though. Didn't we kick it off first on Zoom? I know you and I started first, and maybe we actually started with an in-person, you and me, and then we moved it to a Zoom when we started bringing in the entire team because there's more cost associated with it. So we said, hey, why don't we maybe as we bring leadership team in, but you and I have been doing like annual plannings for a long time. We started by you coming here to my hometown in Jacksonville, Oregon, and we used my vacation home here up the street. And we were up in that little attic space and doing planning all together with sticky notes and whiteboards and doing all those things, just the two of us, before we brought anybody else in. Maybe let's talk about that first. I felt like that was our first experience. What do you remember about those early days, and what did you really enjoy about some of those early sessions, or some things that you thought that was cool, but we actually have gotten better at that?
Yeah. I think it's good to note there that annual planning, it doesn't have to be a large group. You know, it was just you and me. It could be just two people. It's two people talking through ideas, creating next steps, just bouncing things off each other. And I think that was really eye-opening to me, that it's not some big thing. It's not some big event. You don't have to have all your people in a row. You could just have somebody that just needs to listen and talk back with you and plan. So I really enjoyed that. Those are fun times. But then as you grow, you add more people, and then with more people just comes more viewpoints, ideas, and collaboration. So it is helpful having more people, but don't let that stop you from doing your first ones.
No, that's good, Terryn. That's good because it's easy for me to forget, right? But as you're talking, like it's starting to come back. And that the reason why I was just meeting you at the beginning was because there wasn't anybody else. Like it was just me and you know what I mean? And we had a couple of like understudies that were feeding work down to, but that was in the early days of Collab team where there was maybe two or three other people. I think maybe like Brian Fowler and maybe Jesh, I think it was like just a couple of guys, and now obviously we've gone to a spot where we have a developed leadership team and we have multiple different tiers of people that work at Collab team. We've developed out this whole like pay scale and how people ascend and when you become leadership team and what that means when we assign accounts to people. But we didn't have those things in the beginning. At the beginning, it was just me. And then I brought on, I think, Brian Fowler and then you, and then we started adding people from there. But obviously we've gone to a spot now where we have 22 people working with the Collab team and we're carrying, instead of 1, 2, 3 clients at those early days, that we're carrying 30 something clients now. So I think it's good to remember, hey, start even when you're small, doing the right
Mhm.
things, because
Yeah.
then you have a pattern to scale with rather than waiting until you get big and then feeling like, holy, what are we doing now? We don't know what to do. I think having someplace
Yeah.
that's scalable and scaling into is really important.
Yeah. For sure. I think you're just creating those good habits early on with whatever you got. And then that's just going to continue as you grow.
Yeah. So I'd say that that's a great thing. I've been speaking at a lot of masterminds lately and like helping people with operations. I actually just spoke on some of these topics just last week to a mastermind of early entrepreneurs, right? A lot of them just still solopreneurs. And I think this is a really good word for that of even if you're a solopreneur, even if you're just sourcing work, even if somebody's just working for you part-time, maybe that's the person you do your annual planning with,
Mhm.
I think that, but probably before we get too deep in this, just if you're thinking, Aaron, I don't even know where to start. If you go to planning2026.com, that will give you all of our resources for free. So if you're wondering, hey, where do I even start with this? I would suggest go there. I'll give you like the downloads of how we do things, how we lead things. I give you our agenda. I give you the different things that we collect. I give you a different, like, just like a mindset. A lot of our stuff is built on EOS. So we talk a lot about things we've gleaned from Gino Wickman from the book Traction, but they actually have a sort of template to follow as well. And so there are things we've gleaned from there, gleaned from different people through the years, but this is kind of our best of. So planning2026.com is a great place to go to get those downloads. But Terryn, as we like began doing that, it was exactly that, right? I would push out to people and say, hey, here's what to expect. This is what I want you to be wrapping your brain around. I just dropped it this last week, preparing for our annual
Mhm.
plan week is, hey, this is what I want you to be wrapping your mind around. And let's do a couple of different things in that. I would say first, like you want to talk through, hey, what were our big wins this year? Like, how did we win? Coming through and just talking through, actually, but even before that, we start annual plan the same way we start level 10 meetings, which is personal best, business best. Hey, give me something good. Give me something you're really proud about this past year, personally and professionally. Let's get some of that good energy out of the way. Talk to me about how you're feeling, how you're coming to the table, like for annual planning. Because some people may be coming out of a really stressful thing they left behind that day. Some people may be coming excited. Some people planning actually makes them nervous. I want to hear, like, how are you feeling today coming into annual planning? Because then we can speak to some of that emotion as we're in the room. But then I would say, let's talk about the wins and then let's talk about the things we could do better. Hey, you want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. I mean, it is good to come prepared, and that really saves you a lot of time too. People come prepared with some stuff they've already thought about. But I do enjoy, my favorite part of the L10 meeting, personal best, business best. I mean, that's kind of what we're mimicking here. It's what's been the yearly best. What are our wins? What could we do better with? And you're really just given a brief opportunity to look in the past and in a positive light, so you can do more of the things you did great at, and then you're looking forward from there on, all right, now what's our trajectory?
Oh, that's good. I think the reminder to visionaries, especially, that your people aren't as excited to jump straight into work as you are. Right. And I think sometimes I'll watch visionaries like who are just getting used to level 10 format or doing things this way. And it's like, hey, let's get through all that nicety stuff quick. Like they almost consider it fluff, but it's like, no, no, no. That's when you get to lean in and learn about your people. I know that Terryn's ranch is really important to him. I know that this was a dream that he and his wife had. I know that have been planning for this for a long time. And then that this opportunity opened up and they're really excited about it. And they're doing some kick-ass stuff on Terryn's ranch. In fact, if they wanted to follow your ranch journey, isn't there an Instagram page or something they're supposed to be following?
There sure is.
Do you remember what it's called?
Delphi Valley Farm.
Delphi Valley Farm. So if you wanted to check out Terryn's ranching journey, go there. But I know that that's what life's turned up. He gets excited about it. He loves doing like yard chores and things around the farm. And I'm like, man, there's a reason I don't own a farm or a ranch because I do not enjoy doing that kind of stuff, but I think that I want to know what makes Terryn excited because then I'm showing him that I value him. And how can I ask him about things that are important in his life? And how can I ask him about things that are important to him and his people, right? Because that's the value source for folks. Yeah, coming to work's cool. And working on client stuff's cool, but it's like, that's not what lights most people up. Now, you as the visionary, you love it because this is your business, but like you need to understand your people first. So I really like that whole idea of, hey, let's talk about wins. What lit you up this year? Like, what did you get excited about? And what were things that you're like, I think we could have done better, and then take it into the business of, hey, what made you excited about the business this year? What are some wins that you feel good about? Because probably their wins are gonna be different than my wins, right? Maybe my wins are all wrapped up in money, right? Like, did we grow bigger than last year? A lot of visionaries live there, but that's probably not your people's take on what was a win this year. Maybe they were really excited about something they built for a customer or something their customer really won on that they got to participate in. And then what was something they think that we could do better at doing? Because that's probably not going to match what I always think we could do better doing, So it's just cheer the room on done well, do betters.
Yep.
And then I'd say usually from there, I'm really big into breaks. Hey, let's take some good breaks. Let's go take a walk. Let's go walk around. Let's go get some chit chat time. Let's take a snack. Let's come back refreshed. Usually we'll come back and we'll then start to work through like combining issues and things that we need to be talking about when it comes to what are the discussion points for today. And then from there, as we combine those ideas, what should carry forward? What of these are good things? So whoever, I'm pushing out to everybody the week in advance, a list of things we should be discussing in annual planning. Like what should we be working through? There's probably a vision section in there that a visionary is going to want to give first of, hey, where do you as the visionary see the company going? Right. So maybe that's what comes next instead of just straight into issues. I give a projection on this is where I see the company going. This is what I think about it. But I don't think I think a lot of visionaries think annual planning lives and dies there, where they just get to come and pontificate about what they see, what they're dreaming for. And there's two different sides of that. You got the person that's natural to that just wants to talk, right? And then you actually have the person that dreads that. And then they put so much stress on annual planning, they actually avoid it. They actually don't even want to do annual planning because they fear that they're going to have to get up there and give some great vision and they don't know where they're going. And it is a source of frustration. So I would say whatever side of the fence you're on that, lean into it. If you don't have a ton of vision, don't make a big deal about that. If you do have a ton of, bring it there, right? And then invite people into the conversation. Don't just let it be yours. Like let them express things that they like about that or concerns they have about that. What are your thoughts on that, Terryn?
Yeah. I mean, I love vision time. It's a great spot to really hear what they're planning for the future. You really should be realigning with, am I still targeting my 10-year plan? Like, is that still what I'm looking towards? Am I still looking towards my 5-year plan, my 3-year plan, and then you're working backwards and you're also like, okay, now that I've made sure those are still accurate, what's my 1-year plan to get me there? And so you're just kind of recasting what's important to you to get you to that big 10-year goal that you're still focused on as a business owner.
Yeah. So good. So I think that's called, Gino Wickman would call that the VTO, right? Like, let's look at those, the vision traction organizer. Let's look at those different things, get an update from the visionary. And then that's when I would say inserting behind that is updates, issues, things that we need to be talking about as we begin to start our planning session, right? It's kind of like fodder for the fire. Like, and from there, like typically after we've gathered all those things, killed and combined, created a good list, I would say that's when we take a break. And then we come back and begin to work through, hey, were there things that we carried over from last quarter that need to be considered? Are we just going to kill those things? Or are we going to move them forward? And then let's talk about what are the actual quarterly goals for quarter one. I think the place you're going to get clearest is what's coming next in the quarter. But then there are going to be some of those things in that list that you're like, actually, let's push this forward. Like let's push that into quarter two, into quarter three, into quarter four, because there's too much stuff. A visionary a lot of times gets really excited about this list because like, yeah, let's do it all. And then it's like a rock pile. It's like a landslide. I think that's just too much stuff. So no. Let's identify, okay, so these are the things we're most excited about. Let's start to try and associate names with those. And if too much is living on Terryn, then what that means is probably, unless we can shuffle some of that stuff to other people, probably some of that stuff needs to be pushed forward, right? Because it's
Hmm.
not going to be fair to think that we can get all those things done in quarter one.
Yeah. I mean, I have never seen a meeting where you get your quarter one rocks on the board and people are like, oh, is that it? There should be more.
Right.
Always stacked.
And then I think that from there, I think that you can begin to allow people to dream into that, right? Because let's say I've committed to Terryn, whatever this next thing is that I want to build out here at the Collab team. Well, I don't want to impose into Terryn what that thing necessarily is. I may be able to get him ideas, but if he's going to have to own that rock, I'm going to want him to dream about that a little bit, you know? So typically after we've kind of assigned out, what are the things we're going to go after this year? Like we've decided, hey, here's where we want to end up at the end of the year. And now I'm going to back that thing off and say, okay, well, I can't eat an elephant all in one bite. I need to take, or I can't eat an elephant all in one bite. How do I do that? I do it one bite at a time, right? So I'm going to back that off into quarterly bites, right? So this first quarter should be heading me on my trajectory towards what we talked about with the vision traction organizer, right? The 1 year, 3 year, 10-year goal, right? So that's the trajectory. That's the line I'm pulling, right? And then I'm going to back it down to steps in the ladder of how I'm going to get to that goal. So what does that mean for quarter one? What's the most urgent? And sometimes that can be around like timeline. Like for us, we do a lot with annual planning, right? So a lot of our push this quarter and next quarter has to do with that annual planning things. Then from there, typically our next thing that we help people with is gap analyzer, right? We help people with identifying how big of a team do they need to get it done, right? And so that's our next big push, but it starts to begin to pilot for you. What's the template for the year to be able to hit our growth trajectory? And then how are we finding clients that are going to meet those needs based on what we've just decided we're going to need to do. So last year we did something that was really good that I think was your idea, Terryn, was I can get really stuck into, we need this many clients. We need this many high level retainer clients. And I felt like you did great because you challenged me on that and said, do we though? Or do we just need high level retainer equivalents of that? And I thought, wait, that's actually a good pause because we actually have multiple levels of ways that people can work with us. But if I get so wound up on only our high level retainers, it doesn't even acknowledge the rest of these levels. But really what I'm saying is I want to get to a dollar amount by the end of this year. And we could probably get there a couple of different ways. We could do it through high level retainers. We could do it through continuity retainers. We could do it through project blocks. We could do it through subscriptions to assets that we have. You know, there's a lot of different things that could contribute towards that. So I think it's good for you to come up with, hey, what is that end of year goal? And then how does that break down by quarterly rocks? And then which one of those are time sensitive? And all of them should be contributing to where we're trying to get going.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think you're going to find a part with annual planning. Visionary might see rocks that look more boring or
Right.
operational.
Yep.
And I always just like to think of it too, because I've experienced this. These are the necessary building blocks to get to where you're going that build things up to where you're going. We're not integrating with a new CRM because you want us to.
Right.
You never asked us to. We're doing it because we know in order to do these next things, we have to be ready on that side to get there. And so it might not directly relate to, this isn't making us money. Why are you doing it? But it's the building blocks necessary to get there. And so those are the things your team should be thinking of too, as they're building out their rocks and trying to execute on your vision.
Super smart. So that what Terrence verbalizing there is some of the issues, right? EOS would call them issues. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just means some of the natural things that are going to rise up in your team's mind as they listen to you speak vision into a room is you might be adding to some of those real time, right? If you're sharing new vision they haven't heard before, that's going to introduce new thoughts. Terrence going to look at something differently than I look at something. So for an example would be, let's say I want to grow to like a $500,000 company or $1 million company or a $10 million company. There are economies of scale that go with that. And there are some tools that aren't going to translate from a $500,000 company to a $10 million company. That's not going to work. Now I would say that's not even a realistic goal for a 1 year growth, but I would say whatever your growth scale is, you need to ask yourself, and you are hopefully you're going to have a Terryn on your team. If not, maybe you should hire us and let us come to your annual planning. But I would say so that we could be that part of your team. Or you're going to have a Terryn on your team that says, hey, do we have the right tools in place to be able to scale to that? Because if you're working on a lesser form, I know there are some guys that I won't mention on this call, but I will say there are some people that were still collecting their clients through a list, right? A Google Sheet or a lesser tool, trying to use a task management software to handle their quote unquote CRM, customer resource management, right? Like, and it's too confusing and it's too scrambled, and the automations are going to get crazy if you try and drive your scale to multiply that 2x, 3x, 4x times your size currently. So then there needs to be that challenging from somebody that owns the tech like Terryn to say, hey, I love visionary where you want to go with that. Our systems can't bear that load. So we probably need to insert into our rocks this quarter, roll out a new CRM, or some sort of development that's going to be able to build the foundation. We're really big into that, building a foundation that's going to enable you to scale to where you want to get to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's those type of rocks make me excited.
Yeah, I love that. And listen, visionary, they probably don't make you excited, right? So it's like, it's good to have something that Terryn's getting excited about and something that you as the visionary is getting excited about it, because I think that they both complement each other. But I will say this as we kind of wind up today's show. So we've talked you through kind of some of the general broad strokes of planning. Once again, check out planning2026.com. I think it's going to really help you with just giving you those tools. We're going to make ourselves available if you just want us to help you with planning. We'd love to help you with annual planning. But I will say this, something that I think is really important that you might not find necessarily in the fine print of the agenda and the tools I give you is make sure it's fun. Like, make sure it's enjoyable. Like, take care of your people, take them out to a nice dinner, and maybe watch a movie with them or play a game or do something that like keeps it fun. Take them out, do something exciting. Like, this is your opportunity to dote on and celebrate and enjoy your team, right? This is what makes culture. This is what makes them want to work for you rather than the guy up the street, right? So do something that's culturally fun that actually is an opportunity for you to invest in your people and show them, hey, you're important to me. We're going to show up on Thursday. I love taking the team out to a steak dinner Thursday night. Beef and bone, man. We're going to go hit beef and bone because it's a hot spot there in Montana, good old Ulm, Montana. And it's a cool spot. And I'm excited for it. And we do it every year. And that's exciting. Like, I love being able to treat them to a nice steak dinner and just enjoy some time. So whatever that means to you, whatever that means to your team, take a poll. What kind of snacks do they like? What kind of things are they hoping to do? Give them time to take a nap. Like, we have a break in the middle of our annual planning where I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you an hour. Why don't you, if you want to go take a walk, go take a walk. You want to go lay down, take a nap, take a nap. You want to go and do some work, go do some work. It's up to you, but give them some free time so that not everything always has to feel so heavy. Annual planning can be just as much about building the quality of your team as building the quantity of how much they're going to get done. So, Terryn.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I'm excited to be with you in Montana this week. It's one of my favorite times of the year to be able to go with leadership team up there. So listeners of Ops Experts Club listeners, I hope that this helped you. And we'll see you back here next week on Ops Experts Club.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ops Experts Club podcast. New episodes available every week on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. If you're curious about how some of the biggest names in entrepreneurship have scaled their businesses to the next level, check out some of our best content on this topic by going to foundationsthatscale.com. You can find the link in our bio and do your part to improve as an ops expert.